No problem.
And now, the one you've been waiting for. Stork, the Protoss.
My life for hire.
Versus Fantasy, the Terran.
Commencing. Excellent.
What do you want?
Lord. But yes, back to my voice. Stork versus Fantasy. This is it. The epic rematch you've been waiting for since 2008. Even though technically they've gone up against each other since then, but forget about those matches. It doesn't matter now that we have these two guys. These two nerds. The greatest players in the world. Okay, no one questioned that in the comments section. Seriously, just back me up here. The two best players in the world going up against each other on Dreamliner. Here we go. Good lord. I don't know what it is about Stork games that just compels me to ridiculousness. But I think Fantasy does too. Here we go. Except down at the 6 o'clock position in brown is Stork. Not a very storky color, but I can live with it. Over at the 3 o'clock position in red is Fantasy. Wonky map, wonky players. Rematch potential from the Incruit OSL finals. My first finals that I ever casted. Ah, the memories. Memories. Okay, let's get those predictions from the Nukenites before these two powerhouses show us how it's done. Okay, here's one from Scissors SC. Writes, Stork is going to 3-0 his group. Okay, this is all caps now. LMAO, ROFL, MAO, LOLOLOL, exclamation points, 1, and then 2 more exclamation points. So I think he wants Stork to win. Not sure. But oh god. Continuing the ridiculousness, here's one from my favorite user, 98989898787878, writes, it will be my fantasy to see a free ride to the round of 8 Pascal for Stork. Now, see, he fit in every person's name from Group D. He did this for all the groups, by the way. But he bolded Fantasy and Stork, so he thinks Fantasy and Stork are going to make it through. As you can see, Fantasy put down his refinery because he knows Stork is a player who loves to steal that gas. So he put down his refinery so Stork cannot steal that. He's not going to finish that just now. He's going to wait a little while, but that did kind of put Fantasy behind as far as his barracks and his other tech goes. So Stork got some damage done. But he's got to keep that probe alive. Knowing Stork, he has some pretty good probe micros, so I think he'll be able to keep that alive a little bit longer to see the information he wants to see. Stork pushing his luck so much. That's what I like about Stork. He is not afraid of Terran players at all. He is not afraid of them at all. And that's the reason he's able to get so many kills that no other Protoss player would normally even attempt. But that probe has got to have like 2 damage right now. It's got to be 1 hit away, 1 fusion cutter hit away from dropping. But okay, Fantasy finishes up his refinery, so he's going to be able to get out a pretty early factory. But at the same time, if Fantasy had gone for a faster expand build, which would be kind of suicidal on this map, Stork would have been able to get rid of that. But man, he's just tackling this SCV. Stork is determined to take down an SCV. But I think he's actually going to back off now. It's going to be difficult to take down that SCV now that Fantasy knows he's so steadfast in taking it down. He's going to be able to repair it. But here comes the Nexus from Stork coming up as he gets his first Zealot out to cause a little bit of harassment in the front. He might throw that Zealot at the front, and I think he is, moving that down the map right now towards Fantasy's position. He knows Fantasy's probably going to have a couple of Marines, probably just 2 Marines out by the time that first Zealot pops in and says hello. So, okay, I think Stork is still being aggressive, so I can't go back to the predictions just yet. He's at the natural expansion. The observers aren't really looking at it right now. They're looking at Fantasy, getting a little bit more scouting information before hightailing it home. Let's see what's going on inside of the main. Come on, show inside the main, because Stork is broken in right now with his Zealot, and he's actually gotten a couple hits on that one Marine that's out there, so he was trying to end this game. Right now, coming in, almost taking down the Marine. Like I said, this is what I like about Stork. Never afraid to push his luck. Kills one Marine, gets the other very badly damaged. But so those will be easy to take down later. But Stork lost everything in the front in the meantime, lost that initial Zealot, so it's going to be more difficult to hold his choke with just one, but looks like he's doing a pretty good job doing it right now. Fantasy is still hanging around the natural expansion with one single SCV, but I don't think he's going to be able to break in anytime soon. Machine Shop coming up, and the second base coming up for Fantasy. Now we're transitioning into Macro. Stork backing off. But now Fantasy's going to put on the aggression because he has his Vulture out, and Stork knows that. He's getting out of there. He does have his Dragoon in play now, but I think the SCV is just a distraction at the meantime, trying to get that Vulture in to at least pick off one unit. If he can find one probe, it'll be worth it so he can get out of there. But forced to go back home. These guys are playing aggressive already. I love it. So, okay, let's get another prediction here while the action has simmered down for now. I am the Alienator writes, "Hey Nuke, your guts let you down as Fantasy is going to Vulture Rush and Spider Mine his entire group of death. To death, sorry." But yes, I had said my gut instinct was that Fantasy was not going to make it out, and I think that was pretty controversial in the comments section. Especially with this person. Blah17717 writes, "Fantasy will win at everything forever." Man, that kind of covers everything, doesn't it? But the first tank out for Fantasy. Let's see if he actually goes all the way to the natural expansion with this tank. I can't imagine him doing that, but it looks like he's going straight out into the middle of the map, looking for some units stranded out there as he's still pushing the front. But man, if Fantasy pushes with just these Marines in this tank at the front, which I think he's doing because he's coming in with his Vultures too, laying mines just in case Stork should move out without his Observer first, which could definitely happen. Fantasy is so scary with mine play. He's going to have one Vulture full of 3 mines to cause even more havoc here at the front. But yet he's still committed to this. He's floating over a building, I think, inside of Stork's main. I'm not sure what that building was, though. Probably the barracks floating inside the main right now for Fantasy. But Fantasy is looking for another Nexus. He doesn't see it there, but he plops down the mine and decides to back off a little bit because he knows that Stork is very keen on going for heavy Dragoon play. Stork doesn't switch into Zealots until well into the game unless he's going for a brutal frontal attack with a shuttle so he can drop and have, Zealot bombs. There's the word I was looking for, the term. Okay, let's get another prediction. Charles Chung, 93, writes, "Stork advances just 'cause I love him. Stork for the win!" But yeah, I was kind of biased as far as my pick for who would move into the round of 8. I had to go with Stork. Come on. I have to go with Stork. Otherwise, he might not make it. That kind of voodoo... Yeah, whatever. So Stork does have a very nice line of Dragoons at his natural. He's well aware of Fantasy style of play. Went up against the guy in a final, for God's sake, so he knows how keen he is to get out Vultures, run them right through defenses, into the main. Okay, the next base, third base coming up for Fantasy at the 2 o'clock position. It's going to be pretty easy to defend, I think, for him, since it's so far away from Stork at the moment. But Stork has used his observatory at the front as a little bit extra wall. I remember him using that against Fantasy in a previous OSL. I think it was a couple OSLs back. Fleet Beacon for Stork. He's going for carriers. This could be easily scouted by Fantasy, but let's see if Fantasy ever sees it. It isn't on his minimap yet, so he hasn't scanned inside the main just yet. He might be anticipating that tech hidden elsewhere, but here comes the scan from him. He sees it right away, sees that fleet beacon coming out right away.